I can understand. Wine writer Natalie MacLean says her unswerving goal in life is to intimidate those crusty wine stewards at fine restaurants with her staggering knowledge, and it's knowledge she's willing to share. Her first book will have you raising a glass. It's called Red, White, and Drunk All Over, a wine-soaked journey from grape to glass. Natalie's been here many times before to help ensure you're bringing the right pick to a dinner party. Today, though, she's here to tell stories. And I actually teased Natalie when she first arrived because you were here taking phone calls one day. And we were talking about France. You had just returned from France.
Yes, that's right.
You were pretty modest, though, because when you said that you were in, looking through the Burgundy region, you didn't tell me where exactly you went. You had some pinch me, I can't believe this is real moments when you were putting this book together.
Oh, absolutely. It was just, the wine world, I think, attracts some of the most obsessive, creative, charismatic characters, and those are the people I wanted to find when I was searching for the best stories that would tell wine's own story. And Burgundy is certainly just full of those people.
And are those are you becoming one of those people as well? Would you say?
I wouldn't know. I think someone might have to tell me from the outside, but yeah, I've been spending a lot of time with those people. Yes.
Well, and in the book you talk about your love of wine and how you can't believe that you're actually getting paid to drink right now.
I know, what a good gig.
But let's talk about some of those personalities, and I'll probably butcher some pronunciations, but La Loup vise le roi.
Oh, yes, yes.
Am I saying that the right way?
Yes, La Tigresse.
Ah.
She's known in the business because she has strong opinions about what wine should be and how it's grown, and even about wine writers. So I went to visit her in her home, and I was told to warmly welcome her babies, which are her yapping dogs, which greeted me first at the door. And then I go in, and we're trying to communicate because my French is a bit rusty. Her English is definitely rusty. And so we're communicating in sign language, and we go through her winery, and we take the tour. And then afterwards, I thought the interview was over, but all of a sudden I smell burning chicken. And apparently I'm to stay for lunch.
And it's quite the hospitality when you think that she's world famous in the wine world. Not only that, she made the chicken for you.
She did.
She didn't have someone else make chicken for you.
No.
She made the chicken herself.
And it went so perfectly well with her Chardonnay.
Ah,
yeah, absolutely. Beautiful match.
That's what so many people were waiting for you to recommend.
Yes.
But let's talk about the other really interesting experience that you had just not very far away, where you learned so much from this fellow who's been a vintner for years and years, and explain some of the stories at the exact name, Domaine
Romani, yes.
Romani de Conti.
Yes. Some of these just trip off the tongue or trip up the tongue. But it's one of the most famous wines in the world. It's just coveted. New bottles get released at about $500 a bottle. This stuff is liquid gold, literally. And I was privileged enough to go into the winery because it's not open to the public. And so I was searching out those kind of stories too, where you might not usually get access to people and names that you've heard about before and these eccentric characters. So Aubert de Villaine, the owner, took me up into his vineyards, and at this time I chose to go in February, not tourist season, because I wanted to see the beginning of the life cycle of wine, when the vines are kind of shivering in their...
Just as you were.
Yeah, exactly.
From the description in the book.
Exactly. And so we went around and we're looking at his vines and how important the right cut is at the right time. So I got really bold and said, could I cut one of your vines? And he said, absolutely not. And I thought,
oh, big faux pas.
Yeah, I've been here 5 minutes, and I've already offended him. But he was actually, they use electronic shears, and they're very fast, so it was an issue more of liability than my own insensitivity.
Well, and you learned a lot because he actually treats his plants homeopathically, his vines homeopathically.
He does. He's into biodynamics, and it's very much about respect for the earth, planting and harvesting according to the season. Now, what makes it interesting is that some people believe there's elements of, well, I don't know what you call it, witchcraft perhaps. It's a bit lunar.
All energy.
Yes, exactly. Burying bull's horns in the vineyard and that sort of thing. But it's really, it took me right back to the roots of wine, and that's why I started there with the book.
Well, you also went to the root of the cellar. You went down probably, you had such a privileged tour and such a privileged taste, but there was a little bit of black magic taking place as well when he said you weren't allowed out of the cellar unless you could guess the wine you were about to taste.
He made me do this blind tasting, which I sort of was going, oh yeah, ha. And he's like really serious. And he says, okay, you turn around. And he went into the old cellar, pulled out a bottle. I could not see which one, but I knew they ranged from 1918 to the current year. And I'm thinking maybe somewhere in the middle. And I said, 1950s, and he raises his glass a little bit, but he's still waiting. And I'm thinking, I can't guess this. I haven't memorized a 100-year vintage chart for Burgundy.
Weather patterns.
Exactly, yeah. And so, so I thought I'll take a slice in the middle again, and 1955 is too easy. 54, 56, 54, 56, 56. And he goes, cheers. I couldn't, like.
You impressed him.
Well, it was just sheer luck, and I felt welcome to the club or something.
Well, and there was a lot of luck in the book, and we only have a couple of minutes to talk about it, but we'll ask you, what you wanted the book to do. I mean, you became very personal with some people in California as well.
Absolutely. I wanted to tell these stories so that you just roll along with the narrative and the stories, and you're entertained, but you learn a lot about wine at the end without even realizing it. And one person who read the book recently described it as a year in Provence meets Kitchen Confidential, then goes sideways, because it's all about, I think, entertaining and connecting with people who have that common passion for wine. And if you learn about it along the way, that's a bonus.
And it was really great, because early in the book you say, so different from your own family history, because your appreciation for wine really, occurred once you were in the career world.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, good Scottish family from back home, Nova Scotia. Beer and whiskey were on the table, not wine. And so I didn't start drinking till I met my husband.
But not everyone will understand that, as I did, when you said, yeah, your wine experience as a child was, there was a toast at New Year's. Will you explain?
Yes, well, it was, you were given one undrinkable glass of wine at Christmas or New Year's, and another at Easter, and it was usually from the same box.
There you go. You've come a long way. And see, that's what's so great for everyone else, is that you have demystified, and what's great, Natalie, is that you take all of the snobbery out, make it all about stories. The book is really entertaining, and if in case you're in doubt or questioning what wine to bring to a function, bring the book.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Natalie.
Thank you.
Musical legend is returning to Ottawa. Bob Dylan is touring in support of his new album, Modern Times, and stops at Scotiabank Place on November 5th. Tickets go on sale tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. through capitaltickets.com. But we want to help you beat the box office. We have a pair of tickets and a copy of the new CD for the first two callers who can correctly tell us the name of Bob Dylan's last studio album.